you don't need social media to enjoy your hobby, obviously. In fact, social media could be ruining your hobby because of doom scrolling. When you clock time in your hobby off of social media, you're in your hobby, enjoying your hobby, and that is personal and that is you. Is social media ruining our hobbies? Let's talk about this. I've made a few videos before on the negative side of doll collecting and what I wish I knew before I got into doll collecting. Now, I don't regret my journey and path. I heavily dropped into doll collecting and toy collecting in the last like 3, 4 years. I had always been a little bit of like a hoarder collector, whether it was like crystals or manga, metaphysical books, tarot decks, like oracle decks. I've always been into accumulating stuff, and of course there are deeper psychological reasons as to why. When I got into collecting dolls and toys and playing with dolls specifically, I really felt that I was kind of balancing out my like aggressive career choice of being an exotic dancer and just needing to also nurture my inner child. I moved out when I was 16. I used to be heavily into the substances when I was very, very young. I got my first tattoo when I was 13. So playing with dolls and toys as an adult and also after being a single mom really helped me tap into a place that I think I had lost along the way. But social media also sort of messed with my head, and I ended up buying so many dolls because of FOMO, because of shopping addiction. It was just a very like chaotic time, and there was a lot of shopping and a lot of wanting more and more and more and more because of social media. Somebody was upset with me. They were so disappointed that I made like is doll collecting a disease video, because they said that they were really getting into collecting. They loved seeing all of my collections and they felt like I was trying to make people feel guilty for spending money. I felt guilty for spending money. I wasn't trying to make anyone feel guilty for spending money. I just realized that I sort of became a little bit of this consumer, and I sort of got brainwashed by social media, thinking that if only I had this, if only I had that. Granted, I am very content with my collection as it is. It's extremely curated and I love everything that I have. I feel like I'm complete with what I have. And I feel like I can easily be like, okay, if I want a new doll wig, I'm going to sell these 3 outfits over here. I'm going to use that money to get that doll wig. So it's always good to have that, rule, 1 in, 1 out, or 3 out for 1 in. But I feel like with social media, we watch people in their lives with whatever collections they have, with whatever talents and accolades that they've accomplished and made. For example, I'm into K-pop dancing. Sometimes I see these K-pop dancers and I definitely envy them. But when I spend a lot of time doom scrolling, that's when my mind does go in a state of doom. Whatever you consume is what you program your mind with. So if you are doom scrolling, watching all of these content creators and you're seeing what they're doing, it's natural for you to compare yourself to them. But like they say, comparison is the thief of joy, and it feels cliche. But I wanted to make this video to remind you that it is the thief of joy. And social media is, and it has ruined my hobbies. There were a lot of things that I bought and did for the sake of my channel. And I'm just going to flat out admit that right now, that I thought, okay, if I had like all of these rainbow high dolls, if I do this video and it's like unboxing like 20 pull-it dolls, and it was like really dramatic. And yes, it did help my channel grow, but it didn't help it grow that much. It was like I was cutting corners because I could afford to cut those corners. And I do regret that I stressed out my own wallet thinking like, oh, this is what I have to do in order to get people to like see me as a collector. So am I ashamed of that? Yeah, I am. I do admit that. But where did that even come from? It came from me and my envy with other content creators online and seeing their massive unboxings, seeing their massive collection. Check out my X amount dollar collection of anime figures or whatever else. I just thought, okay, you know, if I just do this, then I can make this video. I had fun. I had so much fun. I bought the things. I worked hard. I worked hard to earn the money. I flipped my crystals. If you know a little bit about my story, I used to run a crystal store and I flipped my entire like stock of crystals. I had like almost 2,000 crystals in this house. And I like flipped all of those to like buy all this collection. And do I love my collection? Yes. Do I love all the videos that I've made? Absolutely. It was a learning curve and a learning process, but I think that if I saw a video like, is doll collecting a disease? Or if I saw this video 3 years ago, or if I saw a video that was like, how to have the most perfect curated collection without breaking the bank. And I was really intentional with every last little thing that I bought. Like now I'm extremely intentional. I know exactly who I want to keep. Right now I feel like I want to keep everyone in my collection. Well, there's a few that I'm like, oh, you know, do you belong here? A couple of the blind box figures that I'm like, do you belong here? I don't know, maybe you belong with somebody else. But I did have a lot of anxiety and it took me some time and taking some steps back. It was like, I'm done. I'm done with spending all this money. But I also hopped into like another thing that I wanted to spend money on, which was like fixing my tats and like getting tats. You can have a perfect collection and it could literally be like 5 things and that's your collection. Like there are some doll collectors that really focus on their doll photography, which I admire so much. So you need to understand like what do you like about the hobby before, and that can change as well. So before I was really into like handling and photography and customizing and restyling, and now I've shifted into this like I just dusted this entire room last week, and now I've shifted into like just really enjoying like how all of my toys are displayed. And I'm not as interested in like changing their outfits or like customizing. It's something I still want to do, but I'm not like, oh, I have to do this. I crave doing this. Now I sort of crave like rearranging things, maybe doing a little bit of doll photography and just like looking at everything. Like I just want to sit in this room and just like read. But there was a time where I wanted to like just fill this room with stuff. And there was a time where I wanted to just like make these videos. And now I've shifted and I'm in a different, you know, time frame. There is one of my favorite doll photographers. They post their 2 or 3 dolls in so many different outfits, wigs, backdrops. They go and they rent photo studios. Like I am obsessed with these doll content creators, and I'd like to one day shift into that level of preciseness. I make this like beautiful doll photo with like my one girl, and then my one girl has her own little account and I like change her outfit. But I probably have undiagnosed ADHD and I just have a crazy brain, and there's like a million things that I want to do in a day. There was a time where I thought, okay, if I just like have like 3 or 4 ball jointed dolls, maybe one of my ball jointed doll videos will like blow up and go viral like this ball jointed doll content creator. But then I realized, no, I shouldn't be buying this doll just because of that. But it wasn't just because of that. I absolutely love my ball jointed dolls that I have, and I don't want to resell them. And I'm so glad that I spent the time to curate my ball jointed doll collection. I have 4 ball jointed dolls, and I adore my 4 girls, and they're all from different brands. And I love talking about these 4 brands because they're great and they were not too expensive. Oh, sorry, 5. I have my Minifee doll. I don't regret buying them. I think it's okay to hold space for myself to be like, okay, I bought this doll and it had multiple motivations behind buying this doll. The whole point of putting my collection on YouTube was to monetize my collection, was to be able to fund being a collector. Now it's been more about being accountable and responsible for my motives, self reflecting on what got me here, what led me here, and what's caused me stress or anxiety in the process of getting to this point. I just uploaded a video about mistakes going to Japan, and that was like a little hobby that I was into. I went to Japan 4 times in 2 years, and Japanese culture and learning about it, studying Japanese, watching anime, collecting Japanese toys. It's a hobby of mine, but social media was ruining it for me because I felt like extreme FOMO, like, oh, I just wish I could go over there. I just wish I could go over here. And then I spent all this money and all this time, and then I just felt like depressed every time I came back from Japan. I actually almost cried when I couldn't get this Dolphy Dream doll. And I actually also got very emotional when I thought I wasn't going to make a teddy bear. And maybe this has all been a process of me just growing up. I'm turning 35 in a month. And maybe I just didn't get enough chances as a child to cry to my parents about stuff. Who knows where it all stems from? I feel like we're all evolving. We're all working on ourselves. We're all trying to improve year to year, month to month. And 2026 is coming up. And doom scrolling is doom scrolling. If I'm going to summarize this video, stop doom scrolling. Enjoy your hobbies by just doing your hobbies. If you want to be connected to people who are in the hobby, be connected to them, but that is them in their hobby, and you are you in your hobby, and there is absolutely no need for you to compare yourself, how you relate to your hobby. That is your personal relationship, which has nothing to do with anybody else's relationship. So tell me if you've been feeling any of the things that I have felt with the FOMO, the anxiety, and how can we be a part of the online community within our hobbies, but not have it completely like brainwash our minds into thinking that we're not doing our hobby right, or we're not doing our hobby like good enough, or that if only we did this thing, then we could be that person. Some people work really, really hard to get to where they are, and you don't see that hard work. Some people have mental illness and they're doing things because it's stemming from that mental illness, and they're trying to sort of become whole with something external. And that was my experience, and that was my experience to face and to realize now, and to self actualize now. Is being connected making us feel more separated? I'd like to hear from you, so let's chat about it in the comment section. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked this video, you might like this video. Is doll collecting a disease? I'll catch you in that one.